जय,
जय,
अयोध्या धाम की जय,
जय,
गंगा माई की जय,
जय,
यमुना माई की जय,
जय,
सरायु माई की जय,
जय,
भक्ति देवी की जय,
जय,
तुलसी देवी की जय,
जय,
समवेता भक्त वृंद की जय,
जय,
और प्रेमानंदे.
हरि हरि बोल।
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna,
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna,
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna,
All glory to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bol.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Tinamani Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Is Ram Shyam there? I don't know. No?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Can Mother Sita read the translation for this prayer that we just chant? This number 7 is the translation there, right? Yeah, number 7. Yeah. Can you read? Maybe you're on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Shiva, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who has assumed the form of Ramchandra, all glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroy the 10-headed demon Ravana and distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them, who were much harassed by this monster.
Okay. So I thought we would, thank you. I thought we would first do a verse or two from the Caitanya Charitamrta, and then speak a little about Lord Ramchandra in that context. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda,
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda,
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya, Jai Nityananda,
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai
Advaita
Advaita
Chandra
Chandra,
Jaya
Jai
Gaura
Gaur
Bhakta
Bhakta Vrinda,
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai
Jaya
Jai
Sri
Sri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya,
Jaya
Jai
Nityananda
Nityananda,
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai
Advaita
Advaita
Chandra Jaya
Chandra,
Gaura
Gaur
Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda.
Vrinda.
We're studying Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 7, text number 77.
এই আজ্ঞা পানান নাম লই অনুক্ষণ নাম লইতে লইতে মোর ভ্রান্ত হইল মন.
Since I received this order from my spiritual master, I always chant the holy name. But I think that by chanting the holy name, I have been bewildered.
ধৈর্য ধরিতে নারী হইলাম উন্মত্ত হাসি কান্দি নাচি গাই জয়ছে মদ মত্ত.
While chanting the holy name of the Lord in pure ecstasy, I lose myself, and thus I laugh, cry, dance, and sing like a madman.
তবে ধৈর্য ধরি মনে করিলুম বিচার কৃষ্ণ নামে জ্ঞানাচ্ছন্ন হইল আমার.
Collecting my patience, therefore, I began to consider that chanting the holy name of Krishna has covered all my spiritual knowledge. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hints in this verse that to chant the holy name of Krishna, one does not need to speculate on the philosophical aspects of the science of God, for one automatically becomes ecstatic and without consideration immediately chants, dances, laughs, cries, and sings just like a madman.
পাগল হইলাম আমি ধৈর্য নাহি মনে এত চিন্তি নিবেদিলুম গুরুর চরণে
I saw that I had become mad by chanting the holy name, and I immediately submitted this to the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as an ideal teacher, shows us how a disciple should deal with his spiritual master. Whenever there is doubt regarding any point, he should refer the matter to his spiritual master for clarification. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that while chanting and dancing, he had developed the kind of mad ecstasy that is possible only for a liberated soul. Yet even in his liberated position, he referred everything to his spiritual master whenever there were doubts. Thus, in any condition, even when liberated, we should never think ourselves independent of the spiritual master, but must refer to him as soon as there's some doubt regarding our progressive spiritual life. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharinmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Shapandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here, Lord Chaitanya is responding to Prakashananda Saraswati. What is Prakashananda Saraswati's question? Mother Shobha Radhe?
Why are you dancing and singing like a madman instead of studying? Why are you behaving like a sentimentalist?
Yes. And so the answer, what's his answer? Somebody else.
My spiritual master instructed. I'm full.
Well, yes, step one is his spiritual master instructed him to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra always. and as a result of that, he's dancing and chanting like that, like a madman, because of following his spiritual master's instructions. And then in this shloka, he's going back to his spiritual master. Well, what's going on with me? And Srila Prabhupada makes a very important point in the purport that even in the liberated condition, one still remains the servant of the spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Chaitanya name he kept is technically, it's a brahmachari name, Chaitanya. Because he wanted to emphasize a brahmachari is always a servant of a sannyasi or guru. So he wanted to emphasize that even in the liberated position, devotee, Vaishnava remains a servant of their guru. In the Mayavadi school, or the impersonalist school, it's thought that once one becomes liberated, one becomes as good as God. So there's no need to continue venerating and serving the guru. Srila Prabhupada would give the example this like taking a climbing a ladder to reach a high place, and then once you reach there, you can kick the ladder away. So the spiritual master is something like a ladder that you can reject afterwards. But even in a liberated position, the Vaishnava continues to serve the guru, the spiritual master, because that is one's method to please Krishna. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. By pleasing the spiritual master, then Krishna is pleased. And that continues even after liberation. We see that in Srila Prabhupada's life, even though he was highly elevated person living in Vrindavan, appreciating the uh, devotional sentiments of Krishna Bhakti, still he left there. Why? To fulfill the order of his spiritual master, who had passed away uh, almost 30 years before. So Lord Chaitanya is making this point, and Srila Prabhupada is making this point very clearly here. One should never think one becomes superior or beyond the uh, service of the bona fide spiritual master. Text 81.
কিবা মন্ত্র দিলা গোসানি কিবা তার বল জপিতে জপিতে মন্ত্র করিল পাগল
You know the word pagal, yes. My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays in his Sikshastakam, Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam Govinda virahename. O Govinda, feeling your separation, that's virahena, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. That's Yugayitam. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. It is the aspiration of devotee that while he chants the Hare Krishna mantra, his eyes will fill with tears, his voice falter, and his heart throb. These are good signs in chanting the holy name of the Lord in ecstasy. One should feel the entire world to be vacant without the presence of Govinda. This is a sign of separation from Govinda. In material life, we are all separated from Govinda and are absorbed in material sense gratification. Therefore, when one comes to his senses on the spiritual platform, he becomes so eager to meet Govinda that without Govinda, the entire world becomes a vacant place. So there's different attitudes of the devotee in relationship to the Supreme Lord, classified in many ways. There's 5 primary rasas, but among those rasas, there's also the distinction between Sambhog and Vipralamba. Do you know these? Sambhog means
Service in union.
yes, meeting with the direct presence of the Lord, and Vipralamba,
Service and separation.
yeah, service and separation. And of the two, the happiness or the bliss that's experienced by a devotee is greater in Vipralamba. So this is the prayer that Lord Chaitanya is saying. Even though Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is everywhere, he is within the atom and between the atoms. Still, the devotee and the feeling of separation, that I cannot experience you, I cannot understand you. That is a very high platform of love of God. So with that, some questions or comments on these verses so far. or corrections? No, nothing. Okay. I thought at this point we could speak a little bit about Lord Ramchandra, since it's his appearance day called Ram Navami, and there's a connection between Lord Krishna and Lord Ramchandra. I mean, Lord Chaitanya, excuse me, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Ramchandra. Do you know that connection? Bhakta Shan, I see you there. What would be the connection between Lord Ramchandra and Lord Chaitanya? Or maybe you're not listening. No? Okay, anybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, humble
Yes.
pranam, glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna
I think when we
Madhubhakti.
chant the Maha Mantra, the Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, it is included there. So I
Okay.
think
Good. So you're saying that Lord Chaitanya emphasized following his spiritual master the chanting of the Maha Mantra, and within the Maha Mantra there's this the second part Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Ram
Okay,
Ram.
and yes, we can take that as being indicative of Lord Ramchandra. Rama Rameti Rameti Rama Rame Manurame. Yeah, good. And there's more. There's more connection.
Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
When we chant 3 times that Ram Rameti equal to one chanting of Hare Krishna mantra.
Okay. Yes. There's more. See, there's lots of connections. Other connections.
They say
Yes, Prabhuji.
Ramayana also. When we say that Rama Rama Rameti, Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam, Rama Nama Varana. So
Yeah.
the thing that says, it gives that like we are chanting, we are reading Ramayana. It gives that power. That's what they say too.
More connections.
Yeah, Lord Krishna came in in the Treta Yuga age. Lord Ramchandra, and in the Kali Yuga he himself came. He is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they are the same personalities, supreme personalities. Also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his Ram form to Murari Gupta, who was his one of the disciples.
Yes. Very good.
Yes. So he said, continue chanting Ram's name, no problem. So if you're Ram Bhakta, you go ahead with that. So
Yes.
Good connection. Yes.
Murari Gupta was one of Lord Chaitanya's associates, particularly in Navadvip. So he was especially focused on Lord Ramchandra. So Lord Chaitanya was encouraging him, why don't you focus more on Krishna? And so, as Kaivalya Prabhu nicely pointed out, he tried very hard to change his meditation from Lord Ramchandra to Lord Krishna, but he just couldn't do it. Because Lord Chaitanya had asked him to do it. He couldn't sleep all night, so he came back to Lord Chaitanya and he said, I can't do this. I can't give my heart away to, I've already given it to Lord Ramchandra. So then Lord Chaitanya was very pleased and he showed himself as Ram. Very good. And then what Kaivalya Prabhu said also, it's the same. Krishna is actually the source of all incarnations. So all incarnations are present with Krishna. Yeah. So we see, that's why he said Keshavadrita Rama Sharira. Yeah. All incarnations are present in the personality of Krishna. All those incarnations are called avatar, but Krishna is called
Avatari.
Yes, Avatari. All the source of all those incarnations. So Ram is present with when Krishna is there. Nrsimha is present when Krishna is there. All the incarnations are there with Krishna. And in the temple in Philadelphia, it's sometimes not seeable, or because in like today, hopefully we'll see Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna, in the vesh, the dress of
Ram.
Ramchandra. Yeah.
Ramchandra.
And then Lord Nrsimha's appearance, he appears as Lord Nrsimha. So these aspects are very good, very to remember. Lord Krishna and Lord Ramchandra are not different, and Lord Chaitanya, being the incarnation of Krishna, the same Krishna in Kali Yuga, that he's present as Lord Ramchandra. And there's another aspect that we can still we go a little bit further here. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
And what's another, especially famous in Orissa, Oriya?
Oh, in Ramuna? You're talking about in Ramuna?
No, in Puri.
Abel Prabhu can try.
Yeah.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Sadhubhuj Guru.
Oh,
Yes.
Sadhguru.
Very good. That's Mother Shamagori. Yes. But when Lord Chaitanya first came to Puri, he stayed there for 1 month after taking sannyas. And part of one of the main reasons he stayed in Puri, other than getting the darshan of Lord Jagannath, was he wanted to deliver Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. At the time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the Raj Pandit of Maharaj Prataparudra. He was very highly learned, and he was teaching mostly impersonal type philosophy. So when Lord Chaitanya came to Puri, he first came into the temple of Jagannath, and seeing Lord Jagannath, he fainted in ecstasy. So Sarvabhauma happened to be coming there to the temple, and some of the pandas, some of the guards there were wanted to kind of kick Lord Chaitanya out for making this false display of emotion. But Sarvabhauma tested him. He put some cotton to his nose and see that he's breathing very slightly. So he could realize that this person was really in transcendental ecstasy. So he had him brought to his house. And later, the devotees who were accompanying Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya had gone up ahead, they came to the house and awakened Lord Chaitanya by chanting Hare Krishna, the Hare Krishna mantra, having Sankirtan. So anyway, seeing Lord Chaitanya's beautiful young form, Sarvabhauma was thinking, well, this sannyasi, such a beautiful personality, he'll probably become influenced by the opposite sex. So many people will be after him. So best thing I can do for him is to teach him Vedanta philosophy, to fix him up in spiritual consciousness. So he was making that point to his brother-in-law Gopinath Acharya, and Gopinath Acharya said, "What are you talking about? This Lord Chaitanya, you should understand, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's no question of his being falling into Maya. You should learn from him." And Sarvabhauma said, no, that's not possible. Because in the scriptures, Lord Krishna is called as Tri Yuga Avatar. Tri Yuga Avatar means
He appeared in 3 yugas.
Yeah, he only appears in 3 yugas: Satya, Treta, and Dvapara. Yeah, so this couldn't, he can't be an incarnation of Krishna. Maybe from some sentimental people might say he's an incarnation of Krishna, but it's not possible by the Shastra. So Gopinath Acharya, his brother-in-law, then cited all kinds of Vedic verses describing the incarnation of Krishna in this age as Lord Chaitanya, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, but coming in a covered form, not exhibiting himself as the Supreme Person, but coming as a devotee. Like he quoted, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam. Sangopangashta Parshadam. That verse from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that Lord Krishna comes, Krishna Varanam. He's the category of Krishna, Tvish Akrishnam. But his form, his body is not like Krishna's, not blackish, but like golden. Sangopangashta Parshadam. And his weapons are not the chakra, gada, etc. He comes with his associates. His associates are his weapons. Jagyar Sankirtana Praya, and those people who are Sumedhasa, who are very smart, very good, very smart, they will engage in Sankirtan Yagya. So he quoted this, but Sarvabhauma and his students, they didn't accept that. So still, Sarvabhauma wanted to teach Lord Chaitanya, and so when Lord Chaitanya heard about it, he said, "This is very good. Yes, this is a proper thing. I can learn from the senior Brahmin there in Raj Pandit in Puri." So Sarvabhauma then taught him for 7 days, speaking on Vedanta Sutra, mostly with an impersonal interpretation. And after 7 days, he said, I don't think you're understanding. Why? Because you're not asking any questions. You got to ask some questions. What are the questions? So Lord Chaitanya said, well, I understand Vedanta very clearly, but not your way, your version of Vedanta. And then he went on. So then Sarvabhauma was completely astonished by Lord Chaitanya's explanation of Vedanta Sutra, and could understand this person is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he exhibited a form, a very special form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, which Mother Shyama Gauri pointed out very nicely, is Shad Bhuj. Bhuj means
Shoulders.
arms. Yes. Shat means 6 arms.
Six arms. Mhm.
What are those 6 arms? What were those 6 arms? Do you remember?
Krishna's arms with the flute, and Rama's arms with the bow and arrow, and Lord Chaitanya's with the kamandala
And
the danda.
Danda, yeah. With technically, Lord Krishna's arms were there. They were in the middle with flute and stick. I don't know how he holds both flute and stick, but it said, cowherd boys, they control the cows with the stick. Yeah. And on the top arms were Lord Ramchandra with bow and arrow. So he's showing this. He had previously shown a six-arm form to Lord Nityananda in Navadvip, when Lord Nityananda, he first met Lord Nityananda, and then the day after, there was a Vyas Puja ceremony in the house of Srivas Thakur. But at that 6-arm form of Lord Chaitanya was different. He had chakra, gada, shank, and padma with but not this 6-arm form that he showed to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So that 6-arm form is of Lord Ramchandra, Lord Krishna, and now Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in a sense, he's showing, he's clearing up Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's misunderstanding about the incarnations of God in this recent yugas, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that, and then later, that same, although it's not mentioned in the Chaitanya Caritamrta, it's mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, that after touring South India, he came back to Puri, and then when he came back, Prataparudra Maharaj was also given the darshan of the Sadbhuj form of Lord Chaitanya. So that Sadbhuj form is painted on some of the right nearby buildings or places where he showed that form in Puri, near the temple in Puri. And there are several temples of Sadbhuj, not only in Bengal, where Lord Chaitanya started, but also in many Sadbhuj forms of deities in Orissa also. Krishna Kirtan, to say something.
Yeah,
Prabhu.
I just visited 2 weeks ago this Sadhu's temple in Jagannath Puri.
Yes, yes.
It is Siddha Bakula temple has this deity worship. Very beautiful. I didn't know. I just went. This very beautiful deity, but I didn't pay attention what he was holding. But it is Sadhuja form.
I also went there.
Where Haridas Thakur's Samadhi was there.
Yes.
Beautiful.
This is a special form Lord Chaitanya is showing to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Maharaj Prataparudra, and slightly differently to Lord Nityananda, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead showing. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented that this is another aspect of Lord Krishna's, of Lord Chaitanya's philosophy of Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. You know that. Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva means Krishna is simultaneously one with and different from all his creation. So simultaneously one and different. Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. So usually we take that to mean he's simultaneously one with and different his energies, the energy of the creation, like this material world. But also he is simultaneously one and different from all the different expansions and incarnations that he has. He's simultaneously one with and different from Lord Chaitanya, Lord Ramchandra, Vamanadev, all the different, he's simultaneously one with and different from them. Srila Prabhupada comments that Lord Ramchandra was so kind that even species other than human beings can do service to him, and he accept that service, and then they can get the highest destination. And who's particularly were mentioned by that is signified by that.
Monkeys.
Yeah. We say the Vanaras, especially Hanuman, Sugriv, etc. So on this day, on Ram Navami, it's especially interesting for I like to think about this also, that often people think of the story of the Ramayana, and we have these very developed monkeys that are assisting Lord Ram in his mission, and they're talking monkeys, which is quite. We don't find those. I mean, we don't find them around today. At least we don't see too many of them. But it's interesting that if you go back, if you ask, people who study ancient bones, what's the theory about the development of human beings?
Men come from monkeys.
The theory of it.
Monkey.
Yeah. So they have idea that there's different,
but all things.
Pre-human forms were there. There was, Beijing or Peking man and Java man, and what were these forms? Advanced monkey types.
Monkeys.
Right? Yeah. So that's the theory, and so they have different skeletons that they unearth at different parts of the world to point to this being the true. What is the position of the Krishna consciousness movement on those skeletons?
I think they will be liberated.
If they're associated with Lord Ramchandra, yeah, sure. In fact, all the residents of Ayodhya went back to Godhead. He took Lord Ramchandra took all the residents of Ayodhya back. So what? But in terms of what is the what do we make of these humanoid or ape men of this that's signified by these old skeletons? Were they there?
That they
Might
coexisted
exist.
with humans.
Yes. Good, Dronacharya. Yes, they existed, and also human beings existed at the same time, just like Lord Ramchandra and his associates and Hanuman and Sugriva. They both were there. It's not just because one was there, the other was gone. So we don't accept the specific theory of evolution, but there is evidence, very strong evidence, that human beings were present at the time of Lord Ramchandra, which was millions of years ago, as well as ape men like Hanuman. In fact, there's the foremost authority on cryptozoology or rare species of life. As her name is Shackley, Louise. I think it's Louise Shackley. She's a British woman, but she claims, and she's well respected all over the world, foremost authority in conservative circles, that even today there are ape men in various places on the earth. And there's many records of them in the Pamir Mountains in Asia, etc. So there are many reports of that. So it's on that. Okay. Any comments, questions? Oh, glories to Lord Ramchandra and Lord Chaitanya's Sadbuj form.
I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
If you look at Lord Rama's pastimes, and if you look at Lord Krishna's pastimes, those two pastimes are on North Pole and South Pole. I mean, Lord Ram married just one woman, and and the brother was very dedicated to Lord Ram and Hanuman, and the pastimes of Lord Ram and Lord Krishna are two poles apart. Yet they bring the human qualities. Both personalities are focusing on human qualities. If you look at Lord Krishna's qualities and if you look at Lord Ram's qualities, he's brave, he's righteous, and his upright personality. But how can I, as a devotee, consider both say avatars of the same man? Like those stories are poles apart.
Yes, good question. So Lord Krishna has his mission, and his overall mission is the same. Dharma Sangsthapanarthaya. It's to reestablish religious principles. But he and to annihilate the demons. Vinashaya dushkitam. But that mission is somewhat he doesn't always do the mission exactly the same way. In Lord Ramchandra's time, his mission was to show the example of a perfect king. Therefore, he's called in Sanskrit Maryada Purushottam. Maryada Purushottam. It means he's a perfect human king. That was his. So, as a perfect human king, he had Eka Patni Vrat, one wife. That's it. And even though he separated himself from that one wife, he didn't marry again. He could have married, but he didn't. Lord Krishna's purpose was different. Lord Krishna's purpose was like Lord Ramchandra's purpose was Maryada Purushottam. Lord Krishna's purpose was Lila Purushottam, or Purna Purushottam. He wants to show the full aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he had 16,108 wives. This is mind-boggling for someone to try to understand using material morality. But for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, every living being is his servant. He can have millions and millions of wives, and there's no fault. In fact, in the spiritual world, Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. There's hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis are serving him with great awe and reverence there. So Lord Krishna had a slightly different purpose. I mean, he still did things in many things as exemplary, but in that sense, he was showing his full aspect as Bhagavan. Lord Chaitanya, he took sannyas, and his purpose was prema purushottam. Prema purushottam means he wanted to distribute Krishna prema, so he had a slightly different purpose. Where Lord Krishna was with his intimate associates was exhibiting prema, Lord Chaitanya in his mission was spreading prema to everyone in his Audurya Ras. So even though they're all three the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are differences, like we said, simultaneously one and different. And they're because their missions were different, they had different details about their activities, even though they were all three the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any other comments on that? Krishna Kirtan.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice explanation. Thank you. Yeah, it is inconceivable to think, but you already mentioned that Lord Rama's Leela, he wanted to focus on that aspect of Maryada Purushottam only. But Krishna Leela Lord Rama's Leela is very straightforward. Krishna Leela is very complicated, as Renuka Mata said.
It's usually harder to wrap your mind around Lord Krishna's activities. Yes.
That's why it has to be heard from only devotees. Otherwise, people will mess up in explaining.
Usually that's true. Yeah. Hearing from so many different sources, it becomes very confusing. Therefore, it's best to hear from the liberated souls. Actually, the acharyas give proper understanding, and this is the explanation given by the six Goswamis, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. This is how we understand it. And there's so many different details about Lord Ramchandra's Leela, Lord Chaitanya's Leela, Lord Krishna's Leela that are difficult to understand. People struggle with them. So in each case, we have to take information from the acharyas.
I can say one more statement. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because you mentioned that Krishna is the Purna Purushottam. He's his embodiment of all Leelas. And Lord Rama, in the form of Lord Rama, he was manifesting only certain qualities of him. But same personality of Lord Rama is there already within Krishna. Krishna also manifested as Maryada Purushottam in his dealings, in different Leelas, right? When he was dealing with, even if his wives are dealing with his in the assembly, and he was personally serving all the guests of Yudhishthira Maharaj, with his own hand.
So, what was he doing?
He was receiving the guest and he was washing their feet.
Yes.
Devotees. So the Rama's qualities are there already in Krishna. That's what and in the form of Lord Ramachandra, he wanted to exhibit only on those qualities. That is the purpose of his incarnation.
Yes. So it's also, there's so many contrasts. So in the Ramayana, when Lord Ramchandra, along with these monkey soldiers and Lakshman and all, he fought with Ravan, and finally defeated Ravan, killed Ravan, and then was reunited with Sita, Mother Sita. And then there was some concern because Mother Sita had been in the home of Ravan for how long? A year, a whole year. So there was some concern that there could be taint on Mother Sita. So then she was there was Agni Pariksha. She was showed her purity, and then by going into the fire, and there's the Maya Sita and that's in Ram Lila. It was so significant that he was anyway, we can talk about that a lot. But then in Krishna Lila, there was a demon named Bhomasura. Do you know Bhomasura? Yeah, he was up there near Assam, but he had his kingdom there, and he had stolen all these princesses. Remember this? How many princesses were there?
16,000.
16,000 princesses. So,
16,100.
Yeah. So they were in Bhomasura's place for some time, for quite a while. But then when Lord Krishna came and killed Bhomasura, defeated and killed him, he liberated those princesses. And then what happened?
They requested Krishna, please accept, because no one will accept us because we have been touched by, kidnapped by somebody. So in the world, everybody thinks that Krishna has married 16,108 wives, but the truth is they all requested Krishna to accept them as his wives.
Yeah. So see yes, and see the contrast. He accepted them as his wives without any hesitation, right? Even though they had been there with Bhomasura. Yeah. So he wasn't as doing the same as Lord Ramchandra, who was very, very, very careful about even accepting Sita back. So this is very interesting. Contrast. Same Supreme Personality of Godhead, but for different purposes, he does things differently.
So then Bhagwan Ram is really showing the ideal situation, ideal way of behaving or acting in situations, whereas Krishna Bhagwan is showing alternatives to deal with situations differently yet correctly.
Yes. And people will find fault with Lord Ramchandra's way of doing things too. They do. So there's reasons why he did it this way. Maybe we can get into that. It's a long discussion. There's reasons why he did what he did with Mother Sita, and on different levels, there's all different kinds of reasons. Because he was on one level, he was doing things by the book, by the as is recommended in the scriptures, following the order of his father without any question. Accepting the order of the superior unquestionably, with a smile on his face. And anyway, we can go into that, but not right now.
My point understanding was he about banishing. He didn't banish. He actually sent her to forest. Sending Sita to forest because he was a king. It's not applicable to. He was not setting example for every citizens.
Yes.
The leader, you have.
Yes. A good, very important point. Very important point. Yeah, he was giving the example as a king, right? The king. The statement is, I think you've heard, Caesar's wife has to be above suspicion. Have you heard that before? Caesar's wife has to be above suspicion. And there's a thing called, I think it's in law, they call it the appearance of impropriety. have you heard this? The appearance of impropriety. That in for a lawyer or for somebody who's in business, you have to avoid not only doing things unethically, but even the appearance of doing things unethically has to be avoided. Because why? Because it reduces the faith of people in the institution. So, for example, in law, when somebody gets a legal a fee from, say, they're suing a corporation for on behalf of an individual, they have to, if they get a settlement from that corporation, they can't put it in their own account. They have to put it in a separate account that's it's called an escrow account that's not controlled exclusively by them, because if they put it in their own account, it appears it could be used improperly for their own purposes. And that would be an appearance of impropriety. Does that make sense? So, you know, that's avoided by Lord Ramchandra at all. Even the appearance of impropriety, we have to be very careful with. You know, the appearance, even though nothing happened between Mother Sita and Ravan, and nothing happened, but just the appearance of impropriety was there. So that was for a king, because if a king does something, with the appearance of impropriety, that will reduce the faith in people to follow and be obedient and care and listen to what the king has to say. I think even in recent times, there was a king in England, Edward, wasn't it Edward? So he was the king for a few years, a short time in the 1930s, and then he decided he was going to marry Wallace Simpson, an American girl. Remember her?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it was against the rules. She had been married twice before, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Been married twice before. So then he had to choose. I'm going to marry, or I'm going to stay as king. So because he wasn't allowed to do both, because it appeared impropriety. There was an appearance. It wasn't accepted. So he chose to marry and gave up the kingdom. The appearance of impropriety. It's just not good. Not good. So,
okay.
But Lord Krishna, in the dark of night, was dancing with young girls. Contrast. Different purpose, different time.
Can I also say something?
You may.
So in Srimad Bhagavatam, isn't it also said that, and I just found it, so Prabhupada says in the purport on Canto 9, it was actually impossible for Ravana to take Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravana was an illusionary representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in fire, this Maya Sita was burnt, and the real Sita came out of fire.
Yes. So even though and that's what happened in the Agni Pariksha. There was there's the whole story goes. I mean, maybe we can tell it this evening, perhaps. That, but so it's a fact that Mother Sita never had. The real Mother Sita never had any dealing with Ravan, but just the thought that the appearance that perhaps something happened untoward was enough to later have Sita go to the forest, even though nothing happened. That's why I was talking about the appearance of impropriety. It wasn't anything happened, but just even the appearance. You know, take a look at Bill Clinton. There was something with Monica Lewinsky, right? But just because of that, nobody would listen to what he had to say afterwards. It was just, it became for, and that was actual impropriety, but still, you get the point. It's
not just Yeah, not just Monica Lewinsky, Jennifer Flowers, and many women. Like
Yeah,
those people didn't come out.
yeah. Even one is fine. Yeah. But
Prabhu,
the point was that the faith in the institution, the faith in it will be reduced, so that people will no longer give credence to or follow the instructions of the leader when they think that they're cheating. When they, so the appearance of impropriety. For example, so a president can pardon someone who is possibly could give damaging information about them to legal authorities. So they pardon somebody. Uh, Now that person might be certainly qualified for pardon. It might be, but just because of the situation, it appears like corruption. The appearance of impropriety reduces the faith that people have in the leader.
Yes, true.
So as a king, as we said, Caesar's wife has to be above suspicion. So that's one aspect of it. There's other aspects to it also. Lord Ramchandra, when Vibhishan came to see, he had tried to change Ravana's, his brother's, course, and he said, give up at the last minute, give up, return Sita to Ram. But Ravana was adamant, no, he wasn't going to do that. So Vibhishan left Lanka and came to Lord Ramchandra's camp on the other side of the strait there. So the Lord Ramchandra's associate said, we should kill him. We should kill him. He's an enemy. He's a blood relation to our enemy. He's gonna. So what did Lord Ramchandra say?
No.
I said, no. Anybody who's surrendered to me, I take them as my very own, and I'll never give them up, and I'll always protect them. Anybody, even if Ravana came, I would still do that. Right now, at this late date, if he came seeking to surrendering to me and asking my protection, I would always, and that is my vow, and it will never change that vow. You remember this? You remember this?
Yeah, that's what Sita always tells him. Sita always tells Ravana.
If that's true for Vibhishan, if it would have been true even for Ravan, what to speak of Sita, Mother Sita? How surrendered is she for the service of Ram? So there's a hidden meaning, there's a hidden understanding of what happened when Sita was sent to Valmiki's ashram. And that is that Sambhoga and Vipralamba are two aspects of loving relationships with Krishna. And of the two, Vipralamba is more advanced, more. So to allow Mother Sita to experience Vipralamba was, and we're talking on the spiritual level because God is everywhere. To increase devotion, to increase her thinking of him, he did that. So that's a different point. It's a different point. We're not talking about appearance of impropriety. We're talking about the purpose, because Lord Ramchandra says, I will always give that person shelter, and they're in my heart. So this is also shelter, the separation, to enhance a person, and in this case, devotees or Mother Sita, who's the Supreme Lakshmi, her attachment for Lord Ram. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in real life, who should we follow? Should we follow Lord Ram's qualities or should we follow Lord Krishna's qualities?
We should follow the spiritual master's instructions. Lord Caitanya is the incarnation of God for this age. So Lord Chaitanya's recommendation was Kirtaniya Sadahari. Always chant the holy name. Grihe tako, bone tako, Sadahari bole dako. Whether you're in a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, king, a laborer, engineer, doctor, always chant the holy name. That's our and so we follow in the instructions of Lord Chaitanya and the spiritual master. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Vishnugadar Prabhu,
Hare
for
Krishna.
those explanations and bringing our consciousness to Lord Ramachandra today. Today is a fast day. We'll be fasting until sunset this evening.
Oh, you all are more austere.
Actually,
Ramnam is until noon.
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Okay. I guess some will be fasting till noon. Some people till sunset. We have a program tonight at the temple. We're going to perform Harinam Sankirtan at 5:30, weather permitting. I know later on today it's going to maybe rain a little bit, but hopefully it'll clear up. And we hope to have a program outside tonight, but you don't know, it's going to get a little cooler out. We'll see as the time goes on. But just when you come to the temple, just maybe bring a sweater or a jacket in case we're outside. We hope to see everybody this evening. 5:30 to 8 o'clock tonight will be the program. We'll have, like I said, Harinam Sankirtan, we'll have Kirtan, some more Ram Katha. There'll be a drama. And we have Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman deities that will be visiting the temple today as well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Have a
Krishna.
good day.
Krishna Prabhu.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.